welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Appreciate your patience here this morning. We are in our first week of March. We're officially getting madder and madder as we get to March. Not that bad mad, that good mad, that crazy mad, that fun mad, that oh my goodness, did you see that shot mad, that how did he get that ball behind his back? How did she spin that way? How did the shot even get up? Why didn't they foul type of mad? March Madness is upon us, folks. And you know that Wake Up Call brings you our bracket challenge every single year. We're going to be doing it through Yahoo again, and I'm going to be releasing that information very shortly so you can sign up early to make sure your bracket is ready. So happy to have you here. Happy to be starting off March with you. We have two great, awesome, fun announcements this morning. Plus, Murph and I are going to get into a bunch of stuff. So a lot of great things going on up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So happy to be here with you inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City comes to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. And of course, you can get in touch with them 24/7 by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Murph is here with me on a Murph Monday as we're going to be discussing the NFL franchise tag. I'm going to break it down. You know, we hear about the franchise tag every year, and I feel like people don't really know exactly what it is. And the fact that there's different versions of what you can do. The exclusive franchise tag, the non-exclusive franchise tag, the transition tag. There's information that goes beyond just simply seeing it on the ticker, and I felt like this was a good time to talk about it as we're getting into it. And we've seen a couple already get the franchise tag. As of last week, there was George Pickens, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, got the non-exclusive tag, and then Kyle Pitts Sr., tight end for the Falcons, got a franchise tag as well. So we're going to be discussing the franchise tag. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the NFL Combine because two of my guys shined bright in this NFL Combine. I'm very excited to talk about them, and one of them making a very historic statement there, and he comes from Central New York, and he sat right here in this studio right next to me many years. He's been on the show for many years. I couldn't be more proud for that gentleman. And then the other one I call my VP. If I ever ran for president, I've been telling him since before he even came to play college football that he would be my VP. So happy to talk about them in just a little bit as well. And we'll talk about Major League Baseball spring training as we are fully out here pitching, catching, throwing, hitting baseball. It's back. Even though the snow in my backyard has been here for over a month, baseball's happening. So we'll talk about that with Murph as well here on Wake Up Call. And like I said, those two big announcements are going to be coming up. So stay tuned throughout the show for those. With that being said, Mr. Murph, how we doing?
Doing well, my friend. It's nice to be back on a Monday for a change.
I know. It's been a minute. Next week, you'll start off the week with me on Monday, and then I will spend the rest of the week in Charlotte, North Carolina at the ACC men's basketball tournament while I'm covering the American tournament, women's and men's basketball, covering the ACC tournament, and covering the overall American 32 conferences, NCAA Division I, keeping my eye on everything while I'm planning out my bracket, while I predict the bracket, while I look at the bubble and essentially release my own bracket before the bracket's released, and then jump right into analyzing all those rounds. So as of next week, I mean this week obviously I'll be getting prepped, but as of next week, I will be fully in it, traveling, and setting up what looks to hopefully be a wonderful March Madness for 2026.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Obviously, I will not be looking at anything until probably the day the brackets come out. That's usually my MO. I did well with my brackets last year because my team won a national championship. Did not win my pools, which was unfortunate because a lot of people picked Florida to win the national championship. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. March Madness is always one of my favorite times of the year, And maybe the Gators can go back to back, or maybe it's St. John's this year. My dad would be happy about that one, or maybe it's somebody new.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. I think I got a feeling, I got a hope that this is going to be a special one, because it's been a minute since. I mean, last year was kind of underwhelming. It wasn't a lot of March Madness. It was kind of felt like chalk, and that I hope will change this time around. I hope we're going to have a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm excited for it. I'm always excited for it. Wake Up Call, we've done a national and international bracket challenge where you can input your bracket for free and be a part of what we're doing. We're going to do that again this year, and I'm really excited for that. I always appreciate everybody that shows up. We made history, and you brought us a few years back. We were one of the top 50 bracket pools on Yahoo in the entire world. So I cannot thank you all enough for your just inputting the bracket and wanting to be a part of what we're doing here on Wake Up Call. It means a lot to me, so thank you for that. We appreciate that very much. I want to jump right into the franchise tag and taking a look at this, as Murph and I are here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. First week of March. Can't believe it. I don't know where the heck January went, and then February followed fast behind it. But here we are in the month of March. Make sure you're getting your taxes done. I'm talking to myself. And make sure you do what you got to do and get everything done that you need to get done, folks. But to start with the NFL's franchise tag and break this down, this is coming from the NFL itself, NFL operations. So this is official from the NFL, for those of you wondering where we're getting this from. I'm going to describe it to you from the NFL's website at operations.nfl.com. This is what it says for the franchise tag. Each team can apply a franchise tag or transition tender, also known as a tag, to one player scheduled to become a free agent, which prevents that player from hitting the open market. Once again, you can apply a franchise or a transition tag, not both. You can choose one player every year on your team that's going to become a free agent that you don't want to become a free agent. This year, teams can use this designation from February 17th to 4 p.m. Eastern Time on March 3rd, which is tomorrow, for those of you watching live. The 22nd day preceding the new league year until 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the 8th day preceding the new league year. So that's what that means here. The 22nd day preceding the new league year until 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the 8th day preceding the new league year. And 4 p.m. Eastern Time is a typical time for the NFL of when things come to a close. Each of the different tags, non-exclusive, exclusive, and transition, can be withdrawn by the team at any time before the player signs it. However, the tenders are guaranteed for skill, cap, and injury once signed. A player must sign his tender to be traded to another team. So if this tag comes to the player and they want to leave, they still have to sign it before they're traded. Teams and franchise players can sign multi-year extensions until July 15th in 2026. If there's no extension in place by that date, the team and player can only agree to a one-year contract for the current season. So once they sign this franchise tag, be it non-exclusive or exclusive or a transition tag, they still are able to sign a multi-year extension with the team that they signed the tag with until July 15th of 2026 for this season. A designated player must sign his tender prior to the Tuesday following Week 10 in order to remain eligible to play in the current season. So, if the player decides, hey, I'm going to hold out, I'm going to sit, I'm going to wait, I don't like this, they have to sign their tender, be it the non-exclusive franchise tag, exclusive franchise tag, or transition tag, prior to the Tuesday following Week 10 in order to be eligible for the season. PYS, which stands for prior year salary. A player's prior year salary is composed of his base salary, roster and reporting bonuses, prorated signing bonus, and other payments to players for playing in the NFL for the previous league year. except any performance bonuses outside of roster and reporting bonuses. This is important because it's used for the calculations of the tags. The cap percentage average is calculated by taking the sum of the franchise tag figures at a player's position over the previous 5 seasons and dividing it by the sum of the salary cap over the previous 5 seasons. Because you get paid a lot of money to be on a franchise tag, but you don't have any job security. That's the issue. Now, before I get into what the tags are, I'll bring in Murph here for a second after I describe the multiple franchise tag. When a player receives franchise tag for a second time, he will receive a 120% increase of his previous franchise tag salary or the tag number for the current season, if higher. If a team places the franchise tag on a player for a third time, the player will receive the greater of A, the quarterback tag, B, 120% of the average of the top 5 PYS at his position, or C, 144% of his second franchise tag salary. So Murph, essentially, before we get into what the tags are specifically, you get paid a hell of a lot of money, but you have no job security.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that will get the franchise tag that won't play. I mean, remember what happened to Le'Veon Bell all those years ago? So realistically, we can ultimately potentially see that. I don't expect it, but we can. We're gonna see some guys get franchise tagged, and it happens every year that you would think, oh, this guy deserves to have a chance to go play for somebody else. Brees Hall being one of those, but I hope we do end up tagging him and bring him back and then sign a long-term deal. A lot of times, guys will get the franchise tag from teams with the intention of signing an extension.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. So, will we see that with a guy like George Pickens? Will we see that with a guy like Kyle Pitts? Who knows? But, I was surprised that I think the tenders are different than the tags, right? Because the Cowboys are talking about putting like a first or second round tender on Brandon Aubrey.
Well, the tag, when they're talking about the franchise tag, it deals with 3 things. It deals with the non-exclusive tag, the exclusive tag, and it deals with the transition tag. So those are the ones that are specifically associated with what we're talking about this morning.
Okay, yeah. So, ultimately we'll see what goes on there, but this time of year in the NFL is fun because you get to see, tag and trades, and you get to see, different guys that aren't going to be tagged that are going to be allowed to hit the open market.
Yeah.
But that always makes it fun. That's for sure.
So as we take a look at which one of these tags, because if you just see it, you may not know exactly what it is. Let's talk about the non-exclusive franchise tag. A player who receives the non-exclusive franchise tag is free to negotiate with other teams. In this case, for example, George Pickens. The player receives a 1-year deal with a salary set at the greater of A, the cap percentage average for his position, or B, 120% of his prior year salary. Teams that use the non-exclusive franchise tag hold the right of first refusal. If a designated player signs an offer sheet with another team, the player's previous team has 5 days to match the offer sheet. Should it decide not to, the player's original team shall be entitled to draft choice compensation equivalent to 2 first-round picks. I'm going to read that again. A player who gets a non-exclusive franchise tag can negotiate with any other team. They're going to get a 1-year deal, and this franchise tag will either give them the cap percentage average for his position or 120% of his prior year salary that we just talked about how that's calculated. Now, if that person on a non-exclusive franchise tag, for example, George Pickens this year, if he signs an offer sheet with another team that's not the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowboys have 5 days to match the offer. Should the Cowboys decide not to match the offer, then they will be entitled to draft choice compensation equivalent to 2 first-round draft picks. So if George Pickens goes somewhere else and they look at the offer sheet and they go, you know what? We're not going to match this. We're not going to top this. We're not going to do any of this. Guess what? Now we get some picks from you. So the franchise tag is meant to help the franchise, hence why it's called the franchise tag. And even if they lose the player, they're still getting draft picks. The exclusive franchise tag, a player who receives the exclusive franchise tag, now we're talking about Kyle Pitts Sr., I believe, for this year, he cannot negotiate with other teams. The player receives a 1-year deal for the greater of A, the average of the 5 largest PYS, which once again stands for prior year salary. So they either get A, the average of the 5 largest prior year salaries at their position at the conclusion of the restricted free agent signing period of the current league year, or they get the amount of the non-exclusive franchise tag. So he's going to get paid a lot of money, but Kyle Pitts can't negotiate with anybody. The transition tag, this is one you don't hear about as much. You commonly see franchise tag, but we got to talk about the transition tag here. A player who receives the transition tag is free to negotiate with other teams. The player receives a 1-year deal for the greater of A, the cap percentage average of the top 10 greatest PYS at the player's position, or 120% of his own PYS, should such a player sign an offer sheet with a new team. His former team has 5 days to match the offer sheet, like the non-exclusive franchise tag. The transition tag is a cheaper alternative, though, to the franchise tag. However, should his former team decide not to match, there is no draft pick compensation tied to the transition tag, which is probably why we don't see it as much. If a transition player has not signed an offer sheet with a new team by July 22nd of this year, he can only negotiate and sign with his prior team that season. So the transition tag does not provide the safety net of draft picks to the team putting the tag on the player. So that's why I have rarely heard or seen the transition tag, I'm imagining, because it doesn't really do much for the franchise. But when we see franchise tag, we just think, oh, okay, that person's tagged, they're going to get paid a lot of money, it's a 1-year deal. But we don't look at exclusive versus non-exclusive. Why is this person on the franchise tag and they're sitting out, but they can only play for this team? Why is this person on the franchise tag and they're talking to all these other teams and we're seeing this back and forth and this team matched the offer, then they decided not to match the second team's offer, and now here we go. So that's why I wanted to get into it today, because when you see franchise tag, you don't know that there's somewhere you can talk to other teams, non-exclusive, or you can't, exclusive. So this whole seeing, okay, the Jets, for example, tag Breece Hall, so we're good. And it's like, wait a minute, a week later, Breece Hall's talking to the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's talking to the Dallas Cowboys, and now he's talking to the Cleveland Browns. Well, they matched the first two, now they might not match to one of the Cleveland Browns. Well, how can he leave? Because we franchise tagged him. That's why I wanted to get into it today. And to also describe how the franchise tag non-exclusive is going to put you in a place where you're going to get draft picks if you lose that player, as opposed to the transition tag, where I don't really know why a team would do it. It's kind of is what it says in the wording of the tag, right? We're looking to move this player. Maybe we can't find a deal for them, but they're not going to get compensation in draft picks. So I don't know why a team would really use the transition tag, because it doesn't sound like it's going to be that helpful unless they want to have a cheaper option and say, okay, you know what? We're going to move you and we're not going to get as much for you, but we also don't have to give as much up if you decide to stay for whatever reason. So the transition tag seems to just be maybe a lighter way of saying, let's get this person off the team. But what we typically see is franchise tagging, which either allows you to talk non-exclusive or does not exclusive. And the reality of it all is it is an average of the high contracts that are coming in at that position, which is why people are seeing that George Pickens is going to make, I think it was something like $28 million this year if he stays on the tag. And that's, I believe right now we're looking at the fact that Kyle Pitts Sr. will make, I think it's somewhere around $16.3 million for this upcoming season.
Yeah, and To be fair, I'd never heard of the non-exclusive franchise tag because I've never seen it used. And if it has been used, it's never actually gotten to the point where somebody's given up 2 first-round picks to get the player. What team in their right mind is going to give up 2 first-round picks to get a player that's not a quarterback? I mean, let's be honest. Nobody's given up 2 first-round picks to get Brees Hall. Nobody's given up 2 first-round picks to get George Pickens. Nobody's given up 2 first-round picks to get Kyle Pitts. It's not happening. I've actually seen the transition tag a lot more. And the transition tag is essentially the same thing, except you can sign the offer sheet. You can match the offer. So that's why a team would transition tag somebody if they're not 100% sure they want to bring them back, but they want a chance to match any offer that they get.
Yeah.
So to me, the non-exclusive franchise tag is practically, to me, it's irrelevant because nobody's giving up 2 first-round picks. Because if you're the team that signs that player and you know full well you have to give up 2 first-round picks for it, keep in mind, remember what Major League Baseball does on guys that have the qualifying offer. Guys that have the qualifying offer attached to them, teams are entitled to their second highest draft pick.
Yeah.
Or if you're over certain luxury taxes, they're entitled to your second and fourth best draft picks. When the Mets signed Juan Soto, they gave up their second and fifth round draft picks. They used to be offering, you used to have to give up your first draft pick, which that one is a little bizarre. But even in baseball, they're not as valuable, but teams did it.
Yeah.
In football, first round picks are incredibly valuable. So no team's giving up 2 first-round picks for a guy that's not a quarterback and that's not a franchise quarterback. And let's be honest, if you're a team that has a quarterback that you're going to tag, you're not going to do the non-exclusive franchise tag because you're not going to let him leave.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So that's why I think teams are more inclined to use the transition tag because their incentive is the fact that they have a chance to match the offer sheet. And if they match the offer sheet, the player's back on the team. Let's say the Jets transition tag Brees Hall.
Yeah.
I don't know, the Saints offer him a 3-year deal for $45 million with $30 million guaranteed. If the Jets want to match it, Brees Hall plays for the Jets on that contract for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
That's why you transition tag a guy rather than, because if you don't have a guy that you really want to put the franchise tag on, because there really isn't anybody that I would have put it on for this year, you take that transition tag and you say, okay, we want you back. We're going to transition tag you because we want a chance to match any offer you get. And if they do that, they can get him back. George Pickens will play for the Cowboys next year. I am 1,000% sure of that. No team is giving up 2 first-round picks to get George Pickens right now.
Well, it would be crazy. It would be very crazy to see that. I do want to get into some of the numbers here. And Murph mentioned the tenders, so we'll talk about that too. The NFL Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, allows for some constraints to free agency. Among them, the CBA allows for each team to use one of either the franchise tag or transition tag on a player who would otherwise become an unrestricted free agent. In addition, players with expiring contracts that have earned exactly 3 accrued seasons are considered restricted free agents. Once again, let me tell you that. Players with expiring contracts that have earned exactly 3 accrued seasons in the NFL are considered restricted free agents. In order to use these designations, the team must tender a qualifying offer on a 1-year contract. These tables that I'm about to tell you about will give you some more information. Projected tenders are based on future salary cap estimations and are subject to change when a future salary cap is made official. Franchise and transition tags are calculated by adding the respective tag numbers divided by the sum of the salary caps from the previous 5 seasons, and finally multiplied by the current season salary cap. Franchise tag figures are based upon the top 5 salaries at each respective position, while transition tag figures are based on the top 10. So, the 2026 franchise and transition tenders. For a quarterback, the franchise tag, $43.895 million. The transition tag, $37.8 plus. At wide receiver for this season, the projected franchise tag, $27.298 million. So right around, at 27, 28 million. That's what we look at for franchise tag. Transition, 23.8. Defensive tackle franchise tag for this upcoming season is a little over 27 million. The transition tag is 22.5. Linebacker franchise tag will be just shy of 27 million. Their transition tag will be 21.9. Offensive lineman will have a franchise tag of 25.7 million projected. Their transition tag will be 23.392. Defensive end will be 24 plus million for the franchise tag, and for the transition tag, 21.5. Cornerback will be 21.1 and some change for the franchise tag, and the transition tag for a corner will be 18.1 million. Safety will have a franchise tag of $20.1 million and a transition tag of a little over 16 million. Tight end will have a franchise tag of 15 million was projected. It looks like it might be a little bit higher because I think that right now Kyle Pitts is supposed to make 16. The transition tag projected was 12.6, and I'm giving rough numbers here from a website I'm looking at. Running back will have a franchise tag projected of $14.29 million, transition over $11 million, and then special teams 6.6 for the franchise and about $6 million and some change for the transition tag. The restricted free agent tenders, the things that Murph was talking about, first round is projected for 2026, the tender to be worth a little over $8 million. Second round, $5.76 million, and right of first refusal, $3.5 million. So once again, it gets a little bit confusing of how they calculate it. So you add tag numbers, you divide by the sum of the salary caps from the previous 5 seasons, and you multiply by the current season's salary cap. When you look at a franchise tag, you're looking at the top 5 salaries. And if you're looking at a transition tag, you're looking at the top 10 salaries, which is why the transition tag is less. Again, the transition tag, it's less money for the team, and but the team can't get as much back. Whereas, if you're going to sign someone to the franchise tag, then hopefully you're looking to keep them, or you're looking for a heck of a lot to let them leave, but you're going to have to pay more money. And I mean, listen, it's going to be a lot of money either way. At the end of the day, the question becomes, does this guy want to play for you? And there's a lot of times that we see guys that are franchise tagged that they don't come back, right? It causes a rift. Some guys don't want to play. And this, I feel like once a player is franchise tagged, they're either hoping to move that player and force a team to give them something because regular trade talks are not happening, or I mean, to me, it's over. When you franchise, I'm thinking about Cam Robinson right now when the Jaguars franchise tagged him. And I don't really know why they did, because unless it was, hey, we're really hoping that we can force a trade, that someone's really going to need a starting left tackle and we're going to get draft capital. So we're going to force this because our trade talks are not really happening, or it's not what we want. When I look at that specific scenario. But I feel like so many times, Murph, when you look back historically on players that were franchise tagged, how often do they end their career with that team? So it's good for the franchise.
Doesn't happen much.
But it's not good for the longevity. It kind of lets you know, like, hey, we can't figure things out. Because, yes, it gives them an extension. It gives them this year until July 22nd to figure things out. And the player can sit until week 10 if they feel like it. But if you want to sign a multi-year contract, you have between now and the middle to the end of July to get this thing done. So it provides longer time. But I just feel like once you see that tag hit a player's name, they're kind of letting us know they can't figure out a deal. So I don't know what George Pickens and the Cowboys are going to figure out. I don't know what Kyle Pitts and the Falcons are going to figure out. I feel like Kyle Pitts, and this is what I don't like about the former Gator, this situation for him. Kyle Pitts came in and there was high expectation. And then he wasn't getting the ball. Either because he wasn't getting open, They had multiple quarterbacks. Guys weren't seeing them. They weren't scheming for them. It's either an offensive coordinator problem, or it's an offensive line giving time problem, or it's Kyle Pitts not doing what he's supposed to do problem, or it's a quarterback problem. But he wasn't getting the ball, and he was wildly inconsistent. And people wanted to draft him every year in fantasy with high hopes, and more often than not, it didn't work out. Last year, Michael Penix Jr. steps in as the starter after being a rookie the season before, and I said this entire offense, all of these skilled players are going to have an uptick in fantasy because I think Michael's going to help create that. And he did immediately with Kyle Pitts Sr. And then Michael Penix goes out, Kirk Cousins comes back in. He actually does continue to be utilized under Kirk Cousins, but I think what the Falcons are doing now is really unfortunate for Kyle. I don't think his inconsistency was all on him his previous few seasons, but now it's like, hey, we're going to tag you and we're going to see how consistent you could be this year. So in the past where he could look at the team and say, I'm inconsistent and some of this is out of my control. Now they're saying, well, if you can't get consistent from last year to this year, we're going to let you go. And there might not be a market for you. So I feel bad for Kyle Pitts because he's now forced to prove himself, when in the past, I don't know if it was totally on him that we weren't seeing his numbers.
Yeah, and it was absolutely not on him. They had horrible quarterback play for a long time. Michael Penix actually steps in and starts throwing him the ball, and then Kirk Cousins steps in and really starts throwing him the ball, and he has a great fantasy season. Single-handedly, not single-handedly, but very much was a big part of why I won a fantasy championship this year. But Kyle Pitts has gotten screwed in Atlanta. Has not had good enough quarterback play. The Falcons are about to cut Kirk Cousins, so he won't be there. It's going back to Penix next year. And I don't know that I trust Michael Penix to get Kyle Pitts involved as much as Kirk Cousins was. He was getting him involved early on, but before Penix got hurt, Kyle Pitts went through a tough stretch of the year.
Yeah.
Then Kirk Cousins comes in and he starts feeding him the football, and all of a sudden he's the best tight end in the NFL outside of Trey McBride. So realistically, what we saw at the end of the year, I can't guarantee that that's going to be what we see next year. Now, hopefully, Michael Penix learns something from Kirk Cousins and actually gets him the football a lot. The focal points of that offense, they got 3 stars on offense. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London. Drake London is, yes, a star when you get him the football.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call me out if you want, but he is a star with the football in his hands. Those 3 players should be basically the only ones getting the football. To me, Pitts needs to get the ball more, London needs to get the ball more, and you need to make Bijan Robinson be your Christian McCaffrey. How many good receivers do the Niners still have? Yeah. How many good tight ends? The Niners still have George Kittle, and George Kittle still does George Kittle things, even with Christian McCaffrey. They have their own Christian McCaffrey. Bijan Robinson is the best running back in pro football. You want to say Christian McCaffrey still okay, but it's him and Bijan at 1 and 2. There's no argument about it. There's no doubt about it. Those guys need to get the football. And if you have a quarterback that can't get him the football, that's a problem. I don't know that Michael Penix is that guy. Hence why I will not be buying his cards this offseason. At least not after, July. But if I'm Kyle Pitts and I'm the Niners, I'm looking at this as a 1-year deal, and I'm getting the heck out of there. He's gotten buried on that depth chart. Well, not exactly buried on the depth chart, but buried in the when he's getting the ball. Yeah. The order and who gets the ball. And when he does get the ball, he's effective, but they don't get him the ball. They don't get him the ball in the end zone. I think the last couple of years, and I can, check this just to make sure I'm not incorrect here, but the last couple of years is in terms of Kyle Pitts' stats, he had just this year, he only had 5 touchdowns this year, but 3 of them were in one game. Yeah. Against Tampa. Thank you for that, by the way, because I needed a miracle to beat the guy I beat in that week, and I did it. 2024. How many touchdowns? 4. 2023. 3, 2022, 2,
Yeah.
and 2021 obviously was his best year, but how many touchdowns did he have in 2021? 1. He had 1 in his first year, 2 in his second year, 3 in his third year, 4 in his fourth year, and 5 in his fifth year.
Yeah.
So book it, Kyle Pitts over 5.5 total touchdowns next year. But if that continues to be a trend, maybe he is going to be there. But I don't know that Michael Penix is the guy to get him the football. I really don't. I don't like Michael Penix. I think he's a decent quarterback, but I don't think he's anything special. You know, I worry that he's going to turn into Tua. Maybe not with the concussions, but I'm worried he's going to turn into Tua. Lefty quarterbacks not named Steve Young or Michael Vick, actually not named Steve Young, don't usually have success in the NFL.
Well,
At least not long-term success.
I do want to say this on what you mentioned with Kyle Pitts, his 3-touchdown outing. Kyle Pitts, in the comeback victory for the Atlanta Falcons this past season, 2025-26, over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 29-28, that victory that was on Thursday night on the road at Raymond James Stadium against the Bucs. Pitts had 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. That made him the first tight end to have at least 150 yards and 3 touchdowns in a single game since Shannon Sharp did it in 1996. Only 5 tight ends have reached 150 yards and 3 touchdowns in the same game since 1970. Kyle Pitts in 2025-26, Shannon Sharp in 96, Kellen Winslow in 1983, that's Kellen Winslow Sr., Todd Christensen in 1983, and Rich Castor in 1972. So yeah, Kyle Pitts, we want to see more and we hope for more, but he is in very, very, very rare company to have 150 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game as a tight end in NFL history since 1970.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give the Gator credit where credit is due. I do want to do this before we...
Should I come back from the break wearing one of my Kyle Pitts jerseys?
Maybe you should. Wait, before we hop out of here, into a break, I do want to jump into an example here, because we've talked about the franchise tag, and I've thrown these numbers at you and all this stuff, but I think it's important to look at a scenario. So, a wide receiver, let's just call it this scenario. A wide receiver has $10 million in their salary in 2025. Now, the calculation of the non-exclusive tag, the team must pay the greater of the average of the top 5 wide receiver salaries, which in 2025 was $23.599 million, or $10 million times 120% of that salary, which is
$12 million.
Which is times 1.20. So obviously, in the non-exclusive tag calculation in this scenario, the player is going to get $23.599 million because it's the higher of the two. Now, T. Higgins in 2025, the second consecutive tag. Player was tagged in 2024 for $21.8 million. The calculation for him is $21.8 million times 1.20 because it's 120% of the previous year, which is $26.16 million. So the tag value for 2025 is 120% of the previous tag. So he gets $21.8 million last year. Now he gets 26.2 he gets $21.8 million in 2024. In 2025, he gets $26.2 million. And why don't we typically see a player tagged 3 times in a row? Because it's 144% of the second tag or the top 5 average. So when you think about this, you say, okay, the first tag is the average of the top 5 wide receiver salaries. So you look at that and you go, okay, and how much money is that? And then you say, whatever this, or it's the greater of the two, the contract times 1.20, which is 120%, or the average of the top 5 wide receiver salaries. So you look at that, you say, what's the highest number? Whatever that number is, when the player gets tagged again, like T. Higgins, it's 120% of what that higher number already was. We're not recalculating. We're looking at and saying, what is the high number? What did he have last year that he got paid for a tag times that by 120%, 1.20, and that's his new number. And then you take that number in the third tag and you go 144%. So you multiply it by 1.44. So let's say they decided, hey, T. Higgins, we're going to tag you again this year. That number for him, that's insane. He would be making $38 million.
Yep.
To play 1 year. Generational money for 5 months. So craziness, folks. But that's why the tags are here. And that's why you try to sign long-term deals. And if you want to hold on, it's basically like it's delaying a divorce is what this does in a lot of cases. It's you got a player married to a team and they're doing this and they can't figure out how to stay. So you have these few fingers, right? The franchise tag or the transition tag holding them until it eventually breaks apart. And it costs a lot of money to get divorced, doesn't it, Murph? It costs a lot of money when a team is divorcing a player as well. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, except for my divorce. Mine was cheap. We'll take a step aside for a fast break when we come back on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We will be back here with DT and Murphy, and I will be making 2 special announcements on the comeback here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And, of course, they're open all the time by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. And I know that y'all see me drinking these when I'm on the show here in the morning or when I'm doing something special. Of course, Rain Body Fuel. And so Rain Total Body Fuel is something that I definitely enjoy drinking. I just want to give a shout out to Rain. I want to give a shout out to the Central New York team, Dan Tortora and everybody over there. Big time shout out. I love the logo. I love that king look to it. I love the name Rain and the sour gummy worm I can't get enough of. So you see me kind of pick this up during the show and take a sip, and just want to let you know, give some clarity that we're having some Rain Total Body Fuel here on the broadcast. Murph is here with me. And Murph, I'm going to let Murph decide. Murph, should I tell both of my special things right now? Should I do one of them right now? Should I wait on both? What should I do?
I'd say do one now, one later.
All right. Well, I'll do one now, and then we'll pop into another one. So, as of yesterday, March 1st, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, LLC, has now officially begun our third year. I can't even believe this. Our third year with the Binghamton University Bearcats, and we will kick off year 3 and celebrating our partnership in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University by having, for the first time ever, a one-on-one lengthy conversation, multi-layered, with the president of Binghamton University, who just took the job here a few months ago. Ann DeLeva will be joining us here. And so I'm very, very excited to say that Ann will grace the stage of Wake Up Call this Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on March 3rd to officially kick off year 3 of our partnership with Binghamton University.
I can't believe that's already 3 years, dude.
Yeah.
You know what it is. It's still crazy to me that we've been doing this for close, at least that, maybe 4.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time, and it's crazy how time flies, how many years Papa Joe's been on. You know, the idea of bringing you on and how many years we've had that. Tortora and Elford with Isaac and I doing Syracuse football. To, I mean, how many years Ross and I have done The Drive, which brings you through the entire NCAA tournament. And I think Ross said last year it was 13 years last year. And I was like, what? But I still remember recording it and being in the room, my old bedroom in the house I grew up in Syracuse, and having my recorder and pre-recording. And I still remember walking through the room talking on that recorder, and I still have the same recorder, and I still use it for interviews. Shout out to Sony, because that thing's lasted like 100 years. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing how time flies, truly, when you're having fun. And you know, Binghamton University, as we step into year 3, I said, what better way to go into year 3 than to make history by bringing on the president and having a conversation about her journey, her history, how she views leadership, what her intent is at Binghamton University, why she chose Binghamton, how she sees academics, and athletics marrying together. And it was right off of the news that broke that women's flag football, Binghamton University being a pioneer in making it its 22nd intercollegiate sport and officially bringing in women's flag football in the spring of 2028. And apparently, allegedly, I've heard this from a few people now, I am getting a football. I'm getting a Binghamton University football to commemorate flag football coming up soon. And that's going to be going in the studio right by my scarf for Binghamton University. So I'm very excited, dude. I'm really stoked, and I can't believe it's year 3. I'm just very grateful that Gene Marshall, the athletics director at Binghamton, saw my vision and my mission. Him and I have a lot of things that bond us and what we care about and our parallels and, you know, our faith. And then just meeting the coaches, already knowing some of the coaches, and then the student athletes. And, you know, they recruit Central New York, so some of their student athletes are people that have been on my shows. You know, I got a Baldwinsville B that's sitting in with me at Pizza Man Pub, and a couple years later, she's playing for Binghamton University. So this is definitely a great marriage. It connects me with upstate New York even more, the Southern Tier, Division I athletics, and, you know, now 22 sports coming up here, 21 currently, and a championship caliber school that they're a top 10 public Ivy League school academically, and then athletically, just, you know, looking at this past spring, they had 3 champions, and now there's a wrestler that's going to be on the show as well this Tuesday, March 3rd. You know, he's going to be joining me, Mr. Squires, and he is fighting for his own history and what he's doing in the wrestling world, and Binghamton's had a lot of success in wrestling. So I feel very privileged, very honored, humbled, and blessed that chasing down Binghamton finally happened a few years ago. And it's a tribute to my adopted grandpa, Grandpa Bill. And it's a tribute to the fact that, you know, I believe that everyone should have a place. And Binghamton University, I had hopes for you. I had hopes for sharing your message. And you've taken those hopes and you've multiplied them by more than 10, because the student athletes, the coaches, and the administrators that I've talked to, every single one of you has left something good with me. And I just feel like what my intent of the storytelling, it's turned into so much more. And that's because the character of the people, the caliber of the people, the stories they have to tell. So I've been pleasantly surprised above what I already hoped for in what the community of the Bearcats really was going to bring to the show. And it's been wonderful. Jean's words have been amazing. Anne was, you know, incredible getting to talk with her, and I spoke with the former president, Harvey Stanger, as well. And I mean, the coaches, they have a baseball facility. This is what we need to do. I need to do a DT in Murphy from the baseball facility at Binghamton University.
I'm in.
They have a $60 million baseball facility. They did a $60 million just complete incredible stadium, luxury, everything that they did. They brought me into the training facility with the meeting rooms and everything. And then they added on top of that another indoor facility. And they said that the facilities at Binghamton University for baseball alone would rival Ohio State and other autonomy group schools. I did a tour of these facilities. I can share some of these pictures. I did a tour of this, and I just told Pat Murphy, who used to be at Marywood University, who's now at Binghamton and working in the athletic department and dealing with the external stuff. Him and I were talking yesterday, actually, and I told him, I said, Pat, when I walked into the Binghamton baseball locker room, I had one thought from my experience in 22 years of broadcasting. I've covered the Orlando Magic. I was there when the Amway Center was opened. I went to the Amway Center, now the Kia Center, the home of the Magic, and so many events. I went to that Amway Center at the time, which is now Kia, went there and did a walkthrough with politicians from Orlando, tried the food and experienced the arena before the world got to experience the arena fully. I walked in the locker room for years covering the Magic. The first thought when I went to Binghamton's baseball facility and walked in their locker room is that their locker room looks just as good, if not better, than the Orlando Magic's NBA locker room.
That's nuts.
So I think we should do a show from there.
I would love to do a show from there, man. It could be, and then bring some of their guys on. Maybe we do like our normal show on a Monday, and then we go do it on a Tuesday. We talk to the guys from the baseball team, and I just wanted to peek and see how they were doing right now. Obviously, not a great start to the season right now for them, but to just put something into perspective, their first 3 games of the season were at Dallas Baptist.
Yeah.
Dallas Baptist made I believe Dallas Baptist made the Super Regionals last year. Dallas Baptist is a nationally ranked, very good program.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get D1 baseball rankings right now just to see, because I saw them earlier this morning. Because I know UCLA is at the top right now.
Yeah, and I know they faced, as you know, these Northeast teams start the season away from
They
home.
always go south.
So
yeah, they always go south.
Binghamton was down in Dallas, Texas against Dallas Baptist for 3 games, and then they got their first victory of the season in Williamsburg, Virginia against William and Mary, who they faced for a bunch of games, and then they got another victory when they went to High Point, North Carolina against High Point University. Their first home game is supposed to be this Tuesday, March 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern Time at that baseball complex that I've been talking about.
Have they gotten the snow off the field yet?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They're going to be playing Lafayette, and then after they play Lafayette at home, they'll go to Richmond, Virginia for 3 games against the University of Richmond, the Spiders. Then they'll have St. Bonaventure at home, and then their first multi-game series of the season at home will be against Bryant University, which is part of the America East, on March 13th, 14th, and 15th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, respectively. They'll have Siena before they go back on the road. So they are going to be home for a bunch of games coming up. They got Lemoyne, they have 2 with Fairfield, they have Seton Hall, and so there's a lot to say about how the rest of their season is going to be closer to home, and they don't really have to do a ton on the road. Now, like, I've seen softball teams that have, I mean, I was talking to the Binghamton softball head coach who's coming off of their best historic season ever. Jess Bump led the team to a record of 36-14, most wins they've ever had in a season, happened last season. Plus, they made the NCAAs, and they were champions as they stepped out of the America East. They've had a bunch of games on the road, and the baseball team for Binghamton actually gets to come home here and play on March 3rd, hopefully tomorrow. So I am excited for that. The weather's supposed to be hotter this week. There's a day that we're supposed to have 75-degree weather, and then it goes back down to the 50s. I have no desire to go outside on that day, because to go from 19 to 20 to 51 to 75, and they wonder why people get sick all the time, I don't even want to deal with that. Like, I want to enjoy the weather, but I'm going to have to, I don't know, put myself in some type of like bubble for the next 3 days outside so that my body adjusts, because I just came from being in Florida and it was 77, then it was 51, then it got really cold at night, then it was getting back up to the 70s when we left, then I came home and it snowed again, and now it's supposed to go to 75 for one day in Syracuse. So hopefully they'll have nice weather in Binghamton as of tomorrow. I can tell you that the weather-ish that we're looking at is, it's going to be cold. It's probably going to be in the 40s, and we could have some precipitation, but hopefully they're able to play their first game of the season at home.
Can I just explain to you how excited I am to see the forecast for the next week and a half? Granted, they're showing rain in there, but Saturday. So this is for here. This is for home.
Yeah.
Saturday 57, Sunday 62, Monday 65, Tuesday 67, Wednesday 70,
Yeah.
Thursday 53, Friday 59, and then Saturday 45. But like,
Yeah.
this is the next couple of days. This is next weekend, or this weekend into the following week. Yeah, you can't really see it. It's blurry. But we're also supposed to get snow tomorrow.
Right.
So who knows how that's going to be. But I'll be down in Philly again this week. The Philly show. Obviously, that's the biggest card show that I do on a regular basis. So I'm excited for that. Got a lot of money to spend, man.
Yeah.
Almost too much money to spend.
By the way, folks,
so that could go very, very wrong very, very quickly.
I will tell you that in Tortora, Italy, yes, there is one, it's going to be in the high 50s, if not 60, and they have no precipitation, just cloudy, sunny, or partly sunny, and going to Tortora, Calabria, Italy, which is beautiful and wonderful and insane, because my mom's family's from the Calabria region, but my dad's name is Tortora, so it's almost like Tortora, Calabria was stating that my parents were supposed to meet each other. And when you go to Tortora, Calabria, Italy, and you get off of the train there, you experience a marina, there's a church, there's probably arguably the best seafood I've ever had in my life, and it's a beach. It's a beach. There's beach, mountains. Like, Tortora is a screensaver of paradise tucked into Italy. So just so you all know, I miss it terribly. I will be going back there soon because I know myself and I know my itch, and my itch has to be scratched. So I have to go back to Tortora very soon. But they have better weather than we do right now.
I know, and anybody's got better weather than we got right now. I didn't even get away this year. I didn't get to go down to Florida this year like I normally do. This is the first year, probably the last 3 or 4 years, I haven't gone down to Florida during the winter and played golf. So this is a little weird for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, but it's realistically, even going back to my college days, I went to Florida my first 2 years. We played baseball down there.
Yeah.
So, obviously the second 2 years I didn't, but first year out of COVID, I went down. Or I went down at the end of 2020. I went down at the end of 2021. I went down at the end of 2022. And I've been down there the last couple of years. So, for me, this was weird. Like, I haven't gotten down to Florida at all. Like, I was tempted to just book a flight for like a Monday morning and stay down there for 2 days, do some work from down there and play some golf and then come home. But there's I don't think it's going to be possible to do that right now. But, at this point though, I'm looking outside, I'm seeing the weather, and I'm seeing most of that big snow that we got over the last, at the end of January is gone. Most of it is gone. A lot of it has melted.
Yeah.
I can actually see grass again, which is kind of nice, but, yeah, it's a little bittersweet that winter's over, or that winter's not over, but coming to an end. But, I got to get up and ski 1 or 2 more times before the year's over. But at the same time, I also am really excited to get back on the golf course. and really excited to also be doing, fitting events outdoors.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do inside, right? A lot of these guys I'm fitting want to see ball flights outside, and I get it. I do. Obviously, there's nothing we can do right now with all the snow on the ground, but these guys want to see the ball actually fly outdoors, and I 100% get it. So, I know, once we start doing those events outdoors, we'll start doing, some better numbers and everything. And for us, at least, we got a great product this year. So, and I think it's a lot better than last year's product. And last year's product I thought was pretty good too. I'm excited to see how mine goes, because in one round of simulator golf, I was piping this thing. I mean, granted, X golf simulators are juiced, but I hit one 350 down the middle.
Yeah.
And I was cruising in the low to mid 160s in ball speed, where I normally probably cruise, I don't know, 57, 58, 59, and maybe get up into the 60s once in a while. But it's fun, and I'm excited to get back outdoors. But I think the idea of doing a show from Binghamton's baseball facility would be really cool.
Yeah.
Trevor and Dan, no, I am not trying to steal your idea. No, because I think I've mentioned you. A couple of my buddies do college baseball content. They travel all over the country and take tours of the facilities and interview coaches and whatnot. I think it'd be really cool to see Binghamton's there. But college baseball is a sport that not a lot of people appreciate. So I really hope that that could be something that could maybe bring eyes to their program. It's not like they got. I mean, playing your first 3 games of the year against Dallas Baptist is not an easy way to start the year. And they're about to get into conference play. Hopefully they can, look a little bit better going into the America East play. But, baseball notoriously, college baseball especially, is a Southern sport. You either get teams from the South that win, or you get teams from the Pacific Northwest. So like Oregon State, never Oregon, always Oregon State. But yeah, it's fun. I'm glad we're starting to get back to there. We're starting to see, obviously we're going to get into it in a little bit. Spring training is here. The WBC, the World Baseball Classic, is right around the corner. Yeah. There's some exciting things happening here in the next couple of weeks on the baseball field that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great stuff coming up, and one of those things that has been happening as we are here in this beautiful first week of March on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, where you can go get a vehicle today that is going to help you in the terrain and the craziness of the winter weather, and also going to be sleek and awesome and fun to drive when the weather breaks. Make sure you head out to Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. If you want a sneak peek of what's on the lot, go to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I got to give a shout out to 2 of my guys. Once again, my guy who I said is my VP, that is Enrique Cruz Jr., also known by the ones that love him as Kiko. Enrique Cruz Jr., the guy who is at Syracuse, who is an offensive lineman who transferred to Kansas. Well, he went to the Combine, and they only invite 40 to 50 offensive linemen in the entire country to go to the NFL Combine. Well, Kiko, his vertical, 35 inches, second amongst all offensive linemen. His broad, 9'8", second amongst all offensive linemen. His 40-yard dash, 4.94, seventh amongst all offensive linemen.
That's quick for a lineman.
I know. And his athleticism score, 90, fourth amongst offensive tackles. So my man Kiko, who already invited me to do something I've never done in my life, which is wild. The closest I've come to the draft is having dinner with Justin Pugh right before he was drafted in the first round by the New York Giants coming out of Syracuse, and then also calling Jay Bromley when he was drafted in the 3rd round when I was taking care of my Gammy's old house, my Gammy Miller, my dad's mom, that I was taking care of her house, and I called him from the kitchen, and he answered after he got drafted, and I'm like, how is he even answering? And he said, "We did it, baby." I remember that. I'll never forget that conversation. Well, Enrique Cruz Jr., he's from Chicago. And what did he do? He told me on this show here on Wake Up Call that I'm invited to sit with him and his family during the draft to hear his name called and be in the room with him. which is awesome.
Is he doing it from home or is he at the draft?
No, I think he's doing it from home as of right now.
That's still so cool.
But like, so I was invited to be with the Cruz family as we're watching the draft together.
You gotta do it, man. Where's he expected to be getting picked?
The expectation of where Enrique is going to be, I don't exactly know. I know that after this weekend, I'm sure his stock has risen.
I haven't seen much. Let me see.
Yeah, let me see here. The prospect profile. I'm looking at this right now. So, let's see. They're not saying on here, but they're talking about who stood out. And then they have some interview things. But yeah, I don't know what, because obviously things are going to change, because the other guy I'm about to mention, who's another one of my guys, his draft stock is probably going to skyrocket, I hope. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, being second amongst offensive linemen in 2 categories and in the top 10 in all of those categories, top 7, Kiko, who wore number 17 at the NFL Combine, one of 40 to 50 offensive linemen there. Show that man some love. Put some respect on his name. He is a special, special player. The other one I want to mention is a guy who I had on the show recently, who's been on the show for years.
Day three pick. Yeah. Sorry.
Well,
is what they're expecting.
And here's the thing, and they'll get a steal with him. Now, when you look at the next guy I'm going to mention, him and I talked. He went to CNS. And perfect timing for my next big reveal today, because I'm going to reveal it after I talk about this gentleman. I've had a long-standing relationship with CNS Athletics. I've had the North Stars on the show for probably close to a decade now. Tim Bednarski, their athletics director, always been good to me. Always, like, the longer I've known him, the more access, the more opportunity, and the more, the longer we've known each other, the easier it's been to work together, which is always a good sign. And it was good to work with him in the beginning, even better now. Tim has been great. The coaches have been great. The student athletes have been great. I got to shout out Tracy Lieberman, because last year I got to come in as a guest teacher to teach kids how to create, operate, and run a podcast. And this year I'm teaching again at CNS, which is absolutely an honor for me and a privilege and a blessing. So I want to thank Tracy Lieberman and Tim Bednarski and all of the administration over there for letting me do it not once, but now twice, as we're going to be planning this out and figuring out my schedule, because now instead of teaching 3 days, I'm teaching 5 days. But very excited for that. I didn't know. I mean, it's not like I never thought I could be a teacher, but it's crazy when you actually get to do it. And I'm excited for it. Again, I had like the best time in the world. And those kids, oh my goodness. Those kids, they left me thinking like, wow, if these kids can do this thing in 3 days, what the heck can they do if I give them a week or a month or a year? So I want to shout out CNS. This gentleman has been on the show for, I don't even know at this point, 6 years, 7 years. He was not recruited by Syracuse, big surprise. And so the former regimes of Syracuse did not recruit locally. And I stood on the field at CNS, and they have some of the best facilities in central New York. And they've sent guys to college football all over the place. I was talking with him, and I'll never forget this. We stood on the field. And I said, do you have a chip on your shoulder about Syracuse? Do you think it's a mistake that Syracuse didn't recruit you? He looked right into the camera. He goes, yeah, I think it is. I think, and I'm paraphrasing, but he talked about how I think they're going to come to regret this. Well, he went on to Buffalo, and Buffalo changed their staff. And he went in the portal, and he came out of the portal, and he stayed at Buffalo. Then he transferred to New Mexico State, and he did better. And as his career went on, he has the I think he still has the second longest carry in University at Buffalo football history. Then he moved on to New Mexico State, and he helped them win in overtime in a game that I was watching, where he's just pulling guys in. Then he transfers to Arkansas, to the SEC, for his final season. Do you know that there were, I believe, four or five in the SEC this past season of all 16 teams in the SEC and every running back in the best conference in college football? There was 4 or 5 guys that reached 1,000 yards. He's the only running back in the SEC this year to reach and surpass 1,000 yards with less than 200 carries. Everyone else, Kewan Lacey, all those guys, it took over 200 carries. He is the guy that got to 1,000 plus, and he did it with less carries than everybody else on that short list that got to 1,000 in the SEC. Then he got invited to the Combine. Then he hit the world even more. Mike Washington Jr., Central New York native, born and raised first and foremost in Utica before coming to Cicero and going to CNS, ran the best 40-yard dash of any running back in the entire NFL Combine this year. Mike Washington Jr., who wore number 20 at the Combine, 40-yard dash, 4.33.
Damn.
On top of that, he is tied for 6th all-time in the 40-yard dash amongst every running back who has ever gone to the Combine and ran the 40. He is tied for 6th in the history of the NFL Combine. Ahead of the 2026 NFL Draft, Mike Washington Jr., Central and Upstate New York native, CNS North Star, and most recently Arkansas Razorback, is tied for 6th all-time in best 40-yard dash time in the history of the NFL. He is tied with Darren McFadden, who did it in 2006.
That's impressive. Remember, folks.
2008.
I was going to say 2006 felt early.
Yeah.
Remember, folks, Darren McFadden was a very, very good college running back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he go to LSU?
Why is my brain telling me that he did not go to LSU? Hold on. I'll tell you right now. Darren McFadden. Now I have to think about it because I want to say.
I thought he was teammates with Jamarcus Russell at LSU.
I don't know why I want to say he went
briefly.
I want to say he went to Alabama, but I could be totally wrong.
He might have gone to Alabama.
I want to say he went to Alabama, but let me see. Darren McFadden. Oh, no. He went the same place that my guy went. He went to Arkansas. Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I was
look
like,
at that.
when I said Darren McFadden, my head went red team. And then I went Alabama, but that Arkansas red is very close. So yeah, the color was right. The color was right, but the state was a little bit off, little off of the marker there. But yeah, he went to Arkansas. So yeah. But Mike Washington Jr. I mean, this kid. And by the way, shout out to his trainer through high school and beyond, Pete Moore, who also sat right where Mike sat in the studio. Right here, next to me, to my right, the left on your screen because I'm flipped, but sat right here with me. Pete Moore went to the Combine to support Mike Washington Jr. So Pete, who works at CNS and trains kids all over Central and Upstate New York, Pete, who's a fantastic man of God, wonderful guy, Mike Washington Jr., who's a man of God, wonderful guy. Pete went to Indianapolis to support him and be there. And he was there to see Mike Washington be the fastest running back in the Combine this year.
That is awesome. I mean, I think it was probably like the second or third fastest time in the entire Combine, right? Because I think one of the receivers ran like a 4.28 or something like that. And then maybe another receiver ran or a corner ran like a 4.31 or a 4.29 or something like that. But guys, 4.3 is moving it.
Yeah.
That is Tyreek Hill level speed. That is Xavier Worthy. Well, not quite Xavier Worthy level speed, but pretty close.
But they talked about for his body because I got to tell you this. When I When I first met Mike Washington, he was a kid. And then every year that and this is okay, I got to talk about the caliber of Mike Washington Jr. And there's so many shows that we've done together. And you can go back and watch them, folks, throughout history. I might do a little thing where I put them all together. Mike, every time I saw this kid, like, he would come into the studio and he'd be bigger. And then he'd be bigger. The last time he came in, I was like, this is a grown man. Like, it's crazy to see how he's elevated himself, what he's done with his body, how he's grown. I respected him when he was a kid, getting recruited out of Central New York. And when you see the evolution of Mike Washington, and then you hear him spend most of his time talking about God and being humble and being a good kid, I want to speak to the character of Mike Washington Jr. for a second here. When him and I get in touch, usually every summer, and I'm like, hey, man, would love to get you back on the show. Would love to talk with you. So when he's at CNS, get him on the show. When he committed to Buffalo, get him on the show. When he went to New Mexico State, get him on the show. Over in Arkansas, get him on the show. Coming, out of that and going forward to the Senior Bowl and everything, trying to work out time to get him on. This kid says to me, Mr. Tortora, I don't want to do it on the phone. I don't want to do Zoom. Can we schedule a time where I can come into your studio and I can sit next to you? That's what he still says. This kid has never lost who he is, who his God is, who he's fighting for, why he's fighting, and that's why I love him. Because when it comes to everything he's accomplished, when I'm texting him or I'm on the phone with him, I said, hey, can we do an interview? Yeah. But I'm going to be home in a couple weeks, man. I want to come to the studio. I said, oh, we can do it on Zoom or do it. No, Mr. Tortora. I want to come to your studio. I cannot wait to watch him make NFL history. I can't wait because he's already done it. He's not even in it, but he did it because it's the NFL Combine.
What did you say? It was the 8th fastest 40 time ever?
He tied for 6th.
Tied for 6th fastest 40 time of all time.
For every
and the
running
combine's been going on for how long?
Every running back ever in the history. By the way,
that's for running back. I thought that was for all. I thought that was every position.
By the way, well, it's one of the fastest times overall.
Still, that's still ridiculously impressive.
And by the way, speaking of Arkansas, Talon Green, their quarterback. So Mike Washington Jr. ran a 4.33 Arkansas running back. The Arkansas quarterback, Talon Green, ran a 4.36.
Oh my God. I saw that. I was like, what in the Michael Vick did I just watch?
Best 40-yard dash by their position in the entire NFL Combine goes to Arkansas quarterback Talon Green and Arkansas running back Mike Washington Jr. So for those of you sleeping on the Razorbacks, and by the way, craziness, I was down in, this is so wild. So I was down in Florida in December with my dad. We take our trip, and I met some people, and this guy is an Arkansas fan, and they were talking about something, and I jumped in the conversation, and I ended up telling them about my show, and I said, hey, I cover college football all over the country. We cover everything, a little bit of everything. And I told him, I said, my buddy, Mike Washington Jr., I said, he's your running back. So we were talking about Arkansas, and I told him about it, and we took a picture together. And so I hadn't heard from him, and I was kind of wondering why I hadn't heard from him. And this is how this is how crazy the world works. I just went to Florida with my mom, and I'm down in Florida with my mom, and the guy that I had met when I was down there with my dad that I was wondering, we took that picture together and this and that. He sends me a picture of us together, and he was like, hey, so he put, hey, Dan, I met you in Disney World this last December. I thought I'd send you the pictures. And he said once, and then I enjoy your show, and it was good meeting you. So we took this picture together. We met in Disney at Disney Springs, and I just kind of jumped in on a conversation with this gentleman and another guy Buddy is his name. And so I'm thinking, how come I haven't heard from the guy? I hope I hope he's listening to the show. And then when I land in Florida, just like last week, and as I land in Florida, that's when this message comes through, and he sent me WPS, which for those of you fans that don't know, that's Woo Pig Suey, which is the rally cry for Arkansas. So just funny the timing of meeting him in December, taking a picture. He sends me the picture when I'm down in the same place, when I'm down in Disney.
That's funny.
Again, and it's right before my guy Mike Washington Jr. goes and wreaks havoc on the NFL Combine.
That's bizarre. That's crazy how that works, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's pretty sweet, what he was able to do. And Arkansas hasn't been as good as they have been in years past, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
Right? They're starting to kind of get back to where they were in the early 2000s. The early 2000s, Arkansas football was really, really good.
Yeah.
If you don't remember that, folks, there were some good players come out of the University of Arkansas. So, Darren McFadden obviously being one of them. But yeah, like that's pretty sweet that you got your quarterback and your running back, leading the field in 40 times, and it's pretty sweet. The combine's always fun to watch because you'll always see, and it happens every single year, there's some guys that just absolutely tank their draft stock, Diego Pavia, and there's other guys that will rocket up draft boards.
Yeah.
Some of the throws that I saw a couple of these quarterbacks make were kind of ridiculous. I also think people forget just how good of an arm and how much talent that Drew Aller has. Drew Aller, if he gets drafted to the right situation, is going to be an NFL starter one day. He's probably going to be a late day 2, early day 3 pick. I can imagine. I can see a team like, I'm trying to think of teams with good quarterbacks that, I could see a team like Houston taking him if they're not sold on CJ Stroud. I can see a team. I'd love to see the Jets take him, but that's besides the point. The Jets are going to probably take a quarterback later in this draft.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson also did a lot to improve his draft stock. I'll give him a lot of credit for that. Guys, if he goes number 2 to the Jets, I might be in a hole somewhere.
Yeah.
Because yes, he improved his draft stock, but also, folks, how often does a quarterback improve their draft stock to the point where they're going to get drafted very, very, very high in the draft, and then they stink in the NFL?
Yep.
One of those guys, unfortunately, is that guy, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
He was just given permission to seek a trade. So he's going to be out of Indianapolis. They're going to try to sign Daniel Jones as their long-term starter.
Yeah. Why not?
Daniel Jones.
Why not? And it was a guy that I covered in college, and he was trained by David Cutcliffe, who also trained the Mannings. I want to hit this really quick here to give even more of weight to what Mike Washington Jr. did. SEC running backs in all of SEC history, the Southeastern Conference, of running backs weighing 220 or more pounds and running in the 4.3s at the combine, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, Niall Davis, Mike Washington Jr.
Well, you got 2 great running backs in there. I've never heard of Niall Davis.
Niall Davis had some time with the Chiefs. So, big time.
Never
shout
heard
out.
of him.
But
that's too damn good. Obviously Herschel Walker didn't do what he did in college in the NFL, and then Bo Jackson, had an unfortunate hip injury that ended his football career while he ended up going and playing more baseball. But those are 2 very big names to be in the same conversation with.
And
spit in the same breath as.
Speaking of big name, big announcement, big moment, I'm going to let them announce themselves. The newest wake-up call with Dan Tortora partner in our community of Central and Upstate New York and beyond is going to connect to CNS in a way like we've never had before in our community. Their message airs now.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Willow Rock Brewing Company, what's up? Welcome to the family here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Take a look at this. They're now on the page. We appreciate the support of our Central and Upstate New York partners, and we appreciate your support of them as well. Willow Rock Brewing Company and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub on 6200 South Bay Road in Cicero, New York is now officially a part of the Wake Up Call family and will be the exclusive home of Wake Up Call once a month on-site, on-location broadcasts with the Cicero North Syracuse North Stars, a.k.a. CNS North Stars, and we will be kicking off March as we announce this. They officially joined us March 1st yesterday, and we announced that with a video. They announced it with an incredible post as well, which was extremely amazing and cool to see, and a pleasant message to put out there, thanks to Willow Rock. And on top of that, we officially announced them today in the first show that we have of March, and then we will have our first official CNS show this Thursday, March 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, on-site, on location at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub on 6200 South Bay Road in Cicero, New York, with CNS North Stars girls basketball. So I am so excited. We got to announce them on March 1st officially on our social media. We got to bring you the first commercial here announcing them on our first broadcast of March 2026 here on March 2nd. And in just a few days on March 5th, we'll have our first CNS show. So all in this first week of March, we are truly jumping it off in a big way to have Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora partnered with Willow Rock Brewing Company with the Willow Rock Pizza Pub on 6200 South Bay Road in Cicero, New York. Now the home of our CNS North Star on-site, on-location broadcasts, and I cannot wait. Student athletes, coaches, and administration will be featured with you, the community, while you have dinner, have drinks, celebrate. You'll be able to see the kids, see the coaches, and see the North Star family. I got to ask the man here what he thinks of it, because I know that he likes to go and get himself a nice drink as well as enjoy a great atmosphere. Murph, your thoughts on Willow Rock joining the Wake Up Call family?
I think it's another great brewery that we're gonna have to try next time I'm up there.
Yeah. No, it's.
I mean, I thought Myers Creek was great. I thought the beer was very, very good. So now I'm excited to try another one. That'll be pretty fun. And obviously, you guys know I am always one to indulge. No, I'm not a alcoholic, as some people might be in this world. And I feel like anybody that needs help, go get help. I very much implore you to go and do that. Or so for me, I love going around and trying different places and trying different beer. Very different for me than trying different foods, because obviously I don't do that very much. I'll very much try different beers, but some people like going and doing wine tastings. I like going and seeing different breweries and tasting different types of beer. And obviously at home, I have my go-to spot, Barley Creek. We've been there. We're there. I'm there on a regular basis. But my favorite brewery beer anywhere is from there. Partly because they're my local brewery, but also because I really enjoy it. And I'll go to different breweries and try different things and find different things that I like. The Myers Creek, I forget the name of it, but there was one that I tried that I very much enjoyed. I want to say it was maybe it was the Golden Ale or something like that. Whatever it was very good. And I'm excited to try them out too and see which ones are the best. Maybe I'll do a flight when we're up there, and then we'll see which one's the best and go from there.
Yeah. Willow Rock joining the family. Their official message coming to you just now, as they are officially, as of March 1st of this year, 2026, the newest Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora partner here in our community of Central and Upstate New York and beyond, and the home of the CNS North Stars. As you know, the Wildcat Sports Pub is our home for West Genesee. We have our home at Avicoli's for Liverpool. We have our home for Baldwinsville at Pizza Man. And now we have a home for CNS at Willow Rock, which is literally just a few minutes from the CNS campus. It's very easy to get to. And as you heard in their message coming from Mr. Rockney as well as Kevin, them both speaking about the fact that they are so ingrained in this community. They already have built relationships with coaches and done different things with CNS. Now we get to do it in a bigger way, and we get to truly spotlight and start things off immediately in just a few days on March 5th, this Thursday at 6 p.m., when the North Stars will have their inaugural broadcast with me from Willow Rock Pizza Pub, and it will feature the girls' basketball team, their head coach, Coach Seichin, as well as their team that's had a lot of success this season and a lot of success historically, a team that featured Brianna Stewart at one time, those CNS North Stars. So big time shout out to Willow Rock, and we're going to rock back into Wake Up Call here where sports meets life inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios right after you hear their message again, because why not?
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable, and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
You know, Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. You know, that was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to caninecampground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, and their new and used vehicles are waiting for you to check them out at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. So make sure you do that here today. We are jumping into baseball before we hop out of today's broadcast. Welcome to March. Here we are in the first week of March, March 1st. We started year 3 with the Binghamton University Bearcats in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, and we officially welcomed our newest member of the Wake Up Call family in Willow Rock Brewing Company with the Willow Rock Pizza Pub on 6200 South Bay Row in Cicero, now our home of our monthly on-site broadcasts with the Cicero North Stars on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the CNS North Stars, Cicero North Syracuse North Stars. So very happy to make those announcements today, to share them with you. And now, talking a little bit of that Major League Baseball side of things. Some notes that I'll make here. Griffin for the Pirates, he continues to impress. He had his third spring training home run after banging 2 early on in spring training. Paul Skeens is excited about the World Baseball Classic coming off of what Team USA did in men's hockey and women's hockey and more. And of course, we're also looking at some other things here that Blake Snell not looking to be ready for the opener for the Los Angeles Dodgers, unfortunately. And then Mets are looking to start Peralta in the opener against the Pirates. Dylan Cease had 3 Ks in his Blue Jays spring debut. A lot of different things going on in spring training and moving forward toward the season, Murph. What's top of mind for you for Major League Baseball spring training 2026?
I think it's the introduction of the ABS strike ball and strike system. Obviously, we know that's going to be a staple in Major League Baseball this year. Each team is going to get 2 challenges of balls and strikes. If they are correct, they retain their challenge. We've seen some guys that have been very wrong. We've also seen some umpires that have been very wrong. I mean, I saw a pitch that was literally could not have been more center, and it was called a ball. And the catcher just did a old, and immediately was called a strike. I think that was actually against Kyle Schwarber. And Kyle Schwarber literally told the catcher, like, yeah, dude, you're right. That was definitely a strike. And then he just walked back to the bench after it was overturned. There's a lot of people that are trying to say that this is going to make baseball games longer, this, that, and the other. Folks, it's no different than players in tennis challenging an in or out call. It's literally the same thing. It takes about 15 seconds. If it happens 6 times a game, that's a minute and a half. Are you really going to notice a minute and a half of game time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But anyway, like I think the introduction of this has been, obviously we had it in spring training last year, and it was kind of a trial run, but now we're actually going to have it for real. And I think it's a great thing for Major League Baseball. I'm in the belief that I want the calls to be right. I don't want to see a pitch that's not even remotely close being called a strike, or a ball that's right down the middle being called a ball. I think we're gonna see a lot less arguing. I don't think we're gonna see as many managers getting ejected because of it, because it's unbiased. Mm-hmm. It's AI. So realistically, once the strike zone is what it is for every player, because I think everybody's got remeasured, so their strike zone is exact. I don't know how they're doing it with new guys. Maybe they're as guys get called up. But you also mentioned Connor Griffin.
Yeah.
19 years old, arguably the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. Actually, not arguably, he is the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. There's a real chance he makes the opening day roster for the Pirates. If I'm the Pirates, I wouldn't want him on the opening day roster. I don't know that he's ready yet. But if he earns it, it's going to be hard to tell him he can't be there in New York to make the start on opening day. So to me, if I'm the Pittsburgh Pirates, I'm trying to avoid him being on the opening day roster. I would want to see him get a little time in AAA and really see how he takes to playing the position, facing more experienced pitchers, because a lot of guys in AAA are ex-big leaguers. So, that's the best level of pitching you're going to see in the minor leagues. But we'll see. He's going to get a lot of run time this spring. I mean, we saw it happen with a guy a couple of years ago with the Texas Rangers, and Wyatt Langford made the team out of camp, had an unreal spring training.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso did it all those years ago in 2019. It happens every year. There's always one prospect that you may not expect to make the team out of camp that has a great spring and makes the team. On occasion, those players will get sent down for a week or two, and then, as soon as they're allowed to get an extra year of service time, they call them up. That's called service time manipulation. It's kind of a thing of the past now, because teams are incentivized to have their best prospects on the opening day roster, getting a full year of service time, because if they are, they can get a draft pick if they were to win Rookie of the Year or win any of the end of year awards in their league. But obviously, you got WBC coming up. To me, that's the number one thing on my mind. I could not care less about these spring training games where people are talking about, oh, Bo Bichette can't play third base. He can't field a ground ball. He's been playing the position for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Give the guy a break. But I'm excited, man. WBC is amazing. Obviously, I'm a little disappointed. Tyreek Skubal's only going to make one start. But who knows? Maybe he can be talked into pitching a little bit more because we need him when we play Japan. We need him when we play the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
We need him when we play Cuba. Teams like that are really good. Maybe not Puerto Rico this time, and it's a shame because a lot of the Puerto Rican players had trouble getting insurance to be on the team. It happened too with Team USA. Mike Trout couldn't get insurance to be on the team. Mike Trout, Captain America, could not get insurance to be on that team. Could you imagine Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt Jr., all in the same lineup?
Yeah. It's already a crazy lineup.
With Cal Raleigh?
MVP.
And, oh my God.
MVP Cal Raleigh.
I cannot wait to see this Team USA team take the field because years and years ago, they won the WBC in 2017. 2023, their biggest issue was pitching. They didn't have pitching to beat Japan.
Yeah.
Obviously, Otani's not going to be pitching against us this year, but they got Yamamoto. They got Imanaga. They got, I think Roki Sasaki's still going to be on the team. And they got some other guys from Japan that you've probably never heard of that will probably be coming to Major League Baseball in a few years. 2023. Did any of us know who Yamamoto or Roki Sasaki were? No. Did anybody know who Munetaka Murakami was? No. But that's the thing. That's the beauty of the Japanese team. There are so many great players that play in NPB in Japan that will come over to the States. Murakami, I'm shocked he didn't get as much money as expected. I'm also shocked he didn't go to the Dodgers. I hope he does well with the White Sox. I really do. But he's on that team. He's got the NPB record, I think, with 55 home runs in a season. Something stupid like that. Yamamoto won three straight, their equivalent of the Cy Young Awards. It's going to be... I mean, we know it's probably going to be Japan and the United States in the championship. It's... I don't want to sit here and say that it's guaranteed to be that matchup, but I think that's the matchup that everybody's betting on, everybody's hoping for. Because we're not rivals. We're just, they're two great, great teams.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it. I really am. I will take that over March Madness because I know that will be over before March Madness is over so that I can watch both.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion because I love baseball.
Of course. And yeah, World Baseball Classic, just so you know, folks, that World Baseball Classic will officially start this Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, when the Chinese Taipei plays at Australia, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. That'll be followed on Thursday by Czechia at Korea, Australia at Czechia, and then we'll go from there into a giant Friday, March 6th schedule, which will start at 5 a.m. Eastern Time, and then will end after midnight. Japan at Chinese Taipei, Cuba at Panama, Netherlands at Venezuela, Mexico at Great Britain, Puerto Rico at Colombia, Nicaragua at Dominican Republic, the United States at Brazil, and Chinese Taipei at Czechia as we move forward. I do want to let everybody know Murph brought up the ABS. I want to talk about it here. Beginning with the 2026 Major League Baseball season, players will have the power to appeal the strike zone judgments of human home plate umpires by turning to the Automated Ball Strike, ABS, Automated Ball Strike Challenge System, powered by T-Mobile, a technological advancement that will not only help ensure the most important calls are made correctly, but also bring another layer of strategy to the sport. It'll make its debut on opening night when the Giants host the Yankees at 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time in the first ever live Major League Baseball broadcast on Netflix. So, tested in the minor leagues since 2022, And in the Major League Spring Training last year, this change is supported by fan polling and was approved by the Joint Competitive Committee last September. This system of replay recourse has been fully reviewed and is seen as a happy middle ground between the so-called quote-unquote robot umps that could call every ball and strike and the long-standing tradition of human umpire and the nuance that can come with their calls. So here's some questions that are now being answered. How many challenges does each team receive? As Murph alluded to, each team will start the game with 2 challenges apiece. Do teams get an extra challenge and extra innings? Yes. Because teams are initially managing their challenges under the assumption that the game will be 9 innings, not longer. If a game goes into extra innings, any team that starts the extra inning out of challenges will get 1 challenge for the 10th inning. If they exhaust that challenge, they will get another challenge for the 11th, and so on. So in extra innings, so you have 2 challenges for the whole 9-inning game, and then if you don't have any more, you get 1 every extra inning that you go, which is pretty cool here.
That's the way it should be.
Right. Now, will the ABS challenge system be in use for every MLB game at every ballpark? It'll be used at every MLB ballpark, all 30 franchises. The lone exception for 2026 will be the Mexico City series. Diamondbacks versus Padres April 25th and 26th. The Field of Dreams game, Twins Phillies August 13th, and the Little League Classic Brewers Braves August 23rd. None of which will be played in an MLB park and therefore will not have the infrastructure to support the system. Will it be used during the postseason? Yes. Who can issue a challenge? The batter, the pitcher, or the catcher can challenge an umpire's call. No one else, not the manager. Challenges must be made immediately after the umpire's call without assistance from the dugout or other players. So it has to be immediate. You cannot talk to your team about it, and it can only come from the batter, the pitcher, or the catcher. It is issued when the player taps his cap or helmet to alert the umpire to his desire to challenge the call. Players are also encouraged to verbalize their challenge to leave nothing into doubt, but the cap helmet tap represents the official challenge. How is the call reviewed? An animated pitch result graphic is shown for those in attendance via the video board and to home viewers via the broadcast. Now, looking at the successful challenge, are they retained? Yes. A team only loses its challenge if the umpire's call is confirmed. Because challenges can be lost, it is incumbent upon the player to be judicious about asking for a challenge, not wasting it on something. So, if you use your challenge and it's upheld, you keep it. If you use your challenge and the umpire upholds their own call, their original call, then you will lose that challenge. Now, immediately after the pitch, roughly within 2 seconds, there has to be a decision made by the batter, the pitcher, or the catcher to make the challenge. Can an umpire disallow a challenge? Yes. If the umpire determines that the player's decision to challenge was aided by other defenders, runners, or the dugout, the request will be denied, with the team retaining its challenge. So you don't lose your challenge, but they can disallow a challenge, speaking of the umpire. Same goes if the challenge was not requested in a timely manner. So we've seen it used in the minor leagues, and we've seen it used in spring training. Now we're going to see it going forward. Now, are there any scenarios in which a pitch may not be challenged? When a position player is pitching, challenges are not permitted. Also, challenges are not permitted after replay reviews so as to avoid a complex series of challenges. If there is potential for a replay review after an ABS challenge, umpires will check to see if either manager wants to initiate a replay review before restarting the pitch clock. If a challenge and a replay review are requested simultaneously, the ABS challenge will be accepted first over the replay. And so how much time do they have to review? In 288 games with the ABS challenge system during spring training last year in 2025, it was an average of 4.1 challenges per game. Those challenges took an average of 13.8 seconds. So the average game saw about 57 seconds of added time, effectively giving back only a small portion of the 26 minutes that the average game was reduced from 2022 to 2025 with the new pitch clock. So that's some information here. A final thing, does the system lead to more pitches per plate? No. According to data from testing, in AAA there was an average of 3.92 pitches per plate appearance before ABS and 3.9 afterward. In MLB Spring Training, the average was static at 3.92. So we're not looking at pitchers having more wear and tear on them. And how is it received in spring training is the last thing to comment on here. Of the fans surveyed, 72% said the challenge system had a positive impact on their experience. Moving forward, 69% of those surveyed said they'd like the sport to go ahead with full ABS, 31% in favor of continuing with human umpires. I don't think you want to take the humanity out of it, and so I'm happy that they're not. But that's where things sit when looking at the new ABS system. Any final notes, Murph?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. The ABS system, I think, is going to be really good for Major League Baseball, and I think it's way better than having robot umpires, because I think it would take longer, to be honest, because the umpire would have to hear ball or strike in their ear and then make the call. That's going to add another second or two onto every single pitch, literally.
Yeah.
So that could make games longer. So I'm all in for the ABS challenge system, because realistically, umpires are always going to be part of the game. They're going to make mistakes. It happens. They are human. But we want to be able to correct those mistakes so that we don't have another Armando Galarraga situation at first base where the guy was clearly out and he clearly threw a perfect game and he was called safe by Jim Joyce. Obviously, Jim Joyce knows he got the call wrong. He was very emotional about it the next day when Galarraga brought him out the lineup card. To me, that will always be a perfect game because that was the 27th out. It's not like you have something that got screwed up in the first inning and then they retired the next 27. That was the 27th out. So that would have ended the game. But balls and strikes, we've seen some doozies.
Yeah.
Thank goodness Angel Hernandez is no longer doing Major League Baseball games, because he would hate this. So I'm so glad he is no longer umpiring Major League Baseball. Joe West as well. He also would hate this. But we got some good umpires in there now that are coming up from the minor leagues, and I'm excited for it. But there was one umpire in particular, I don't remember his name, that had 6, and I'm not even exaggerating, 6 calls overturned in a Yankee spring training game. So that is the main reason why ABS is now in place. But I'm excited for it. I don't remember if it's going to be in the WBC. I think they said no. But I'm still excited to see it on opening day. I'm excited to see the Netflix broadcast. I have no idea who's calling that game for Netflix.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to watch that. Obviously, I hate watching the Yankees and rooting against them, so that's always fun. I know, sorry, not sorry, Yankee fans, but you guys do the same to us at times. I know that. But it'll be fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to it. Folks, we will have meaningful baseball games this month. I am so excited.
Yeah, the World Baseball Classic tipping its hat officially this Wednesday, March 4th, and bringing us through the World Baseball Classic, an extension of the Olympics, if you will, as we are here in the wonderful still winter, ushering in the spring training going on, even though Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, which I didn't even have to watch. I'm like, I know he's probably going to see 2 shadows. So we're happy to have this here, and happy to have the opportunity for the World Baseball Classic. We'll see what the ABS does to baseball, but you can never take out the human factor, in my opinion. That's why even when you have self-checkout at Target, Walmart, Wegmans, and whatnot, I still like having human beings. By the way, Wegmans, just a suggestion, allow me to pay cash if I go through the express checkout and I'm just doing it myself without having a person there. I don't like the fact that at Wegmans you have to use your credit card. At Target you can pay cash. At Walmart you can pay cash. But if you go to Wegmans and you do the self-checkout, you have to use your card. Don't appreciate it. Don't like it. But listen, man versus the machine. Every movie ever has shown you to not give the machine control. So I would suggest we don't do that. We'll see how ABS works. But ultimately, I don't want to take the human factor out and just have some robot standing behind a hitter at some point, and here's the batter in the box, and the thing's going, that's a strike. You know, I don't want like some camera behind him doing that. I'm not looking for Terminator. So hopefully good things will happen. And AI, I come in peace. So with that being said, Murph, any final notes? We appreciate having you here today. Willow Rock, you're going to have to come and visit and see that very soon. And we'll have to figure out something with Binghamton as well. But any final word?
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing is just that I'm excited to finally have some baseball, some meaningful baseball this month. Go Team USA. And I'm wondering what the heck we're gonna do when 2028 rolls around and we got the Los Angeles Olympics, because we have baseball in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get Major League Baseball players playing in the Olympics?
Hopefully.
Or are we gonna get stuck with a bunch of minor leaguers that aren't very good and, and stink? So, we got a couple of years to figure that part out.
Yeah.
But please, let's get big leaguers in the Olympics. I guarantee you that will be watched just as much as hockey was in the Olympics.
Well, I look at the NFL, too. I mean, the NFL is going to have the opportunity for flag football players coming up very soon in the Olympics.
The difference is, though, they're out of season.
True. But
baseball's in season, and hockey was in season. So if you can put, get rid of the All-Star game for that year and just make it be the Olympics,
yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah. Well, the Olympics are supposed to feature the best of your country. So whoever the best is should be playing.
How can Team Japan not have Shohei Ohtani?
Right.
How can Team USA not have Aaron Judge or Mike Trout?
Right.
How can Team Dominican Republic not have Juan Soto? How can Team Puerto Rico not have Francisco Lindor?
How
which
can the
also
Winter
they
Olympics
will not have him for the WBC as well.
How can the Winter Olympics not have the Jamaican bobsled team? With that being said, Murph, as always, I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Yes, sir.
Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We're going to take one final step aside here on the show. If you're wondering what the shirt is, that is my lion, Daniel in the Lion's Den, of course, from the Bible, a story that is near and dear to my heart and something that I have felt figuratively many a time. So, and I know that God has always literally been there for me, and I cannot thank him enough for being with me in the Lion's Den to the point where I'm not afraid to be thrown in it anymore. We'll take a step aside for a fast break from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We'll wrap things up right after this on Wake Up Call. Stay with us. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world's gonna sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. They are open for you Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. And, of course, you will find all different things there from soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, football to Disney Lorcana, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece. All the things you need to protect your cards, travel with them, showcase them. Singles, packs, boxes, graded cards. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but that's because there's a lot to see at GG Cards and Breaks. Basically, what I'm telling you is you get to be a big kid, search for your favorite player, search for your favorite team, and, of course, play your favorite games, all at GG Cards and Breaks, the place for all things card related and all things big kid spirit related. Head there to 639 Delmar Place, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. And their trade night at the Wildcat will be happening Thursday, March 12th from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you head out there for that as well. Big time thank you also going out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. You could find Chick-fil-A in DeWitt open for you Monday through Saturday. Keep in mind they're closed on Sundays in honor of our Lord. And, of course, they have so many great things at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, no matter what you're a fan of. If you're a fan of the original, the spicy, the grilled, if you want to get that mac and cheese. If you want to go out there and get one of those new frosted beverages, there's so many awesome things that you will find at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. If you've never been to Chick-fil-A, the time to go is now. And the biggest Chick-fil-A that I've ever seen, and I'm not just talking about Central New York, I'm talking about in general. I've never seen a Chick-fil-A in this big of a building, giant brick building, double drive-through, and ready for you is there in Chick-fil-A DeWitt, led by Megan Sorber and her team on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. We look forward to seeing you out there, to order on the app, to order inside, to order in the drive-thru, as well as for catering and fundraising. You can do it all from Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank you for being with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time and beyond, as it's 11:31 right now. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. Once the shows go live, they hop into the archive, and we'll be adding to that from today's show on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask your Alexa and Google devices to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. Big time thanks, and we appreciate your support of our Central and Upstate New York partners, Great Lakes Honda City, our exclusive studio partner, as well as Carvel, DeWitt, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, as well as Mother's Cupboard, Pizza Man, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Myers Creek with both locations, 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York, in the Syracuse Inner Harbor, and on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Brian's Landing, as well as Game Point Sports Complex, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Willow Rock Brewing Company with the Willow Rock Pizza Pub that we now officially have welcomed to the family as of March 1st. And, of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. We're with the Bearcats every Tuesday at Bearcat Time. Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You will find the Bearcats student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining us throughout the year. We have officially entered year 3 with Binghamton University. Hard to believe that time has flown by this fast, but it has been absolutely, positively amazing, rewarding, and a blessing. Binghamton University with us Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time during Bearcat Time. You can find all of our content with Binghamton over the years by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information on the Bearcats, go to BinghamtonBearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank you all for tuning in to today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I want to thank Murph for being a part of the show. DT and Murphy coming to you on Mondays here on Wake Up Call to start off your week. So always appreciate Murph being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I want to thank you all for being with us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Just so you know, coming up here on the wonderful event schedule that we have here on Wake Up Call tonight, March 2nd, we will be at the Wildcat Sports Pub tonight, making history. 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Tonight, March 2nd at 7:30 p.m. We will be live on location with the West Genesee boys swimming and diving team. It's the first time we've ever featured West Genesee boys swimming and diving. We'll be on stage in the party room at the Wildcat Sports Pub tonight at 7:30 p.m. here on March 2nd. We look forward to seeing you out there. In the meantime, as always, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say God bless, no stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon.